In the heart of the Yanda region lay two village settlements, Wadi and Kaya, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests. These villages were known for their fertile lands and bountiful waters. The people of Wadi were mainly farmers, cultivating the rich soil to grow crops, while the inhabitants of Kaya were skilled fishermen, relying on the river that flowed through their village for sustenance. But there was one resource both villages coveted: the Great Pond. This large, serene body of water was teeming with fish and vital to the survival of both communities. For generations, the ownership of the pond had been a contentious issue, with both Wadi and Kaya claiming it as their own. Years ago, after a bitter dispute, the Council of Elders from surrounding regions ruled that the pond belonged to the Wadi tribe as it lay within their territorial boundaries. Though the decision was met with grumbling from Kaya, the villagers accepted the ruling and a fragile peace was established. Wadi enjoyed the pond's bounty while Kaya relied on their river. However, the peace was not to last. In recent times, the river in Kaya began to dry up. Season after season, the fish became scarcer until one day the villagers could hardly catch enough to feed their families. Desperate, the people of Kaya began to look longingly at the great pond once more, and tensions began to simmer. Among the villagers of Kaya was a young man named Kato. Frustrated with the hardships his people faced, Kato, along with a group of like-minded youth, decided they could no longer abide by the old ruling. They believed the great pond rightfully belonged to Kaya and that the ruling had been unjust. One evening, Kato and his friends met in secret. If the elders won't act, then we must take matters into our own hands, Kato said. We will fish where the bounty is and we will feed our people. The group decided to start fishing in the great pond under the cover of darkness. Word of their activities soon spread through Kaya, and while many elders disapproved, others supported the youth, seeing no other choice. The situation grew more complicated when the people of Wadi discovered what was happening. Anger spread quickly through Wadi when they learned of the encroachment. They saw Kaya's actions as an act of theft and dishonor. The village chief, Nia, decided that something had to be done. We cannot allow this violation to go unchallenged, he declared, and the council agreed that strong measures were needed. They chose Jabari, a respected warrior known for his strength and loyalty, to lead a group of Wadi's strongest fighters to confront the poachers from Kaya and drive them away. At dawn, Jabari and his men arrived at the great pond, where they found Kato and his companions fishing. Without warning, Jabari and his warriors charged, demanding that the Kaya men leave immediately. An intense argument ensued, with neither side willing to back down. This pond belongs to Wadi, Jabari shouted. Kato stood his ground. Our people are starving, Jabari. The river is dry and we have no choice. We will fish here whether you allow it or not. The confrontation quickly escalated into violence. Spears clashed, and the peaceful waters of the great pond became a battlefield. The fight was brutal and chaotic, with both sides suffering injuries. By the time the battle ended, the pond was stained with blood, and both Wadi and Kaya lost men. The death and injuries from the battle shocked both villages. Sons, fathers, and brothers had been lost on both sides, leaving a trail of sorrow. As the villages mourned their dead, the elders from both communities realized that the violence could not continue. Chief Nia of Wadi and Chief Amara of Kaya, both wise and respected leaders, decided to convene a council of elders from both villages. They met in a sacred grove, a neutral location where no blood had ever been spilled. It was a place of peace, chosen deliberately to remind everyone of the value of harmony. The council began with heavy hearts as each elder spoke of the losses from their village. The pain of the recent conflict was fresh and the air was thick with tension. But amid the sorrow, a shared realization began to take root. The cycle of violence had to end. Chief Amara spoke first, his voice filled with emotion. We have both lost sons today, but what have we gained from this conflict? Nothing but sorrow and pain. We must find another way. Chief Nia nodded. This pond, which has been the source of our conflict for so long, has now claimed the lives of our people. We cannot let it destroy us further. We must seek a solution that honors the needs of both our villages. After hours of discussion, the elders reached an agreement. They decided to share the great pond equally, recognizing that it was a resource that could sustain both villages if managed wisely. The pond would no longer belong to one village or the other, but to both. They also agreed to establish a joint council to oversee the use of the pond, ensuring that it was never overfished and that its bounty was shared fairly. When the decision was announced, there was initial resistance, especially from those who had lost loved ones. But over time, the wisdom of the elders' decision became clear. The people of Wadi and Kaya began to work together, restoring the great pond and ensuring it remained a source of life for all. Cattle and Jabari, having survived their injuries, became symbols of the newfound peace. They put aside their past animosities and worked together to enforce the rules of the Joint Council, ensuring that no villager from either side would suffer as they once had. The story of the Great Pond became a tale passed down through generations, a reminder that conflict should never be the first solution to a problem. The villagers learned that dialogue, compromise, and mutual respect were the keys to living in harmony.